Over Christmas, as usual, AD Colin and I were inundated with questions from friends and family about drinks, wine and spirits particularly, so we thought it might be useful to put together a series of answers to some of those questions for you. One that comes up for me time and time again is always about this time of year from people who've decided that this is the year that they want to boost their wine knowledge. And why not? I've always said that a little wine knowledge is a life skill, whether it's for hosting work lunches, bossing dinner parties with your friends, or even just being able to buy wines that you know you're gonna like. Problem is, it's such a complicated subject. Where do you start? Well, this is where I'm gonna take you through the 4 steps to follow when you want to learn more about wine. Think of a bottle of wine as a person. Now think of that person naked. So no clothes, but also no discernible haircut or makeup, just the raw DNA as Mother Nature intended. Now, sure, you can dress up this naked body to change the style somewhat, with clothes, with hair, with makeup, etc. But in most cases anyway, you're not going to get too far away from what Mother Nature has given you. Well, in wine terms, the most important ingredient by far, this raw DNA, is the grape variety. Because any grape variety, be it Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Merlot, Pinot Grigio, has the same inherent characteristics, no matter where in the world it's grown. Now sure, of course, those different locations will tweak the style slightly for reasons we'll come on to later, but generally speaking, a Merlot will taste like a Merlot no matter where it's from. So, what I would advise you to do is get to know the personalities of the world's most famous grapes, pick the top 5 whites, the top 5 reds, find out which are the most famous wine regions for each of these grape varieties, 3 of them, and then do a little tasting tour comparing and contrasting, and that is the way to get to know a grape variety. Step number 1 on the ladder to wine knowledge nirvana. Step number 2 on the ladder to wine knowledge nirvana. What would you do with your naked body next to change the style? Clothes. Well, in wine terms, think climate. Clothes equals climate. Because very, very generally speaking, a grape variety grown somewhere warm and sunny will be fuller bodied, more fruity, more flavoursome, more alcoholic, less acidic, and generally more in your face than that exact same grape variety grown somewhere cooler. So when you do your tasting tour, try and find a grape variety grown somewhere cooler, say northern France, and compare it to the same grape variety grown somewhere where you know there's a lot of sunshine. Barossa Valley, Australia perhaps, or Chile. What is step 3 on the ladder to wine knowledge nirvana? The answer is haircut, pruning, viticulture, basically all the little things that happen in the vineyard that can make a subtle difference to the final style of a wine. These could be things like green harvesting, which is removing some of the grapes before they're ripe so the remaining grapes on the vine become more concentrated, cutting away leaves so they get more sunshine, keeping the leaves on so they get less, etc. All of these things, and of course the soil type does make a subtle difference to the final texture of the wine. All of the stuff is naturally quite geeky, and it's much easier to understand, I think, once you've got a handle on grape variety and climate anyway. So we've looked at how the grape is the raw DNA of wine, and then the difference that climate makes and what happens in the vineyard that can all affect the style. The 4th and final step to look at, the uber geeky bit, would be winemaking. What happens when you move from the vineyard into the winery. And this is important, this is the makeup stage, because just as a makeup artist might smooth out the flaws and enhance the best features of a model, so a winemaker might add a little bit of oak for spiciness and for texture, or a little bit of powder for acidity. But if they're worth their salt, you should still be able to tell what grape or grapes the wine was made from. But again, I find that this all made so much more sense when I got to grips with points 1, 2 and 3 beforehand. So there you go, the 4 steps to wine knowledge nirvana, the best way to start learning about wine because it's such a huge subject, in my opinion anyway. If you want to see these ones written down, they're actually in my book, Wine Birds of Analogy, Wine Basics with a Twist. But any other questions you might have about drinks, wine or spirits for me, AD or for Colin, please put them in the comments below.